The first time was so nice, they had to do it twice. That's right, Gambia, the Scorpions. They've made history qualifying for 2 consecutive AFCONs for the first time in the country's history. A great achievement. Of course, it's only the second time they've ever qualified for AFCON, and they've gone back to back with this golden generation of players and a fantastic manager, arguably one of the best international managers that Gambia has ever had. The proof is in the pudding. Look at the results. They made it to back AFCONs. A side note, which I think is just a gem of information. When Gambia qualified last time out for AFCON, they were ranked 150. They were the lowest ranked team at AFCON. We did a whole video on this. That's how many of you may have first come across the channel. And now, a year on, they've qualified for AFCON again. They're way up there now in 119, 119 in the FIFA World Rankings, and they're still the lowest ranked team at AFCON. Of course, last time out they were the lowest ranked team ever, but this time if you look at the teams that have qualified for the tournament, which is all finalised now, with the current FIFA World Rankings, they are still the lowest ranked team at 119. So I don't know. Someone will have to check and let me know if there is a nation that has qualified for 2 consecutive AFCONs and been the lowest ranked team at both. Just a really random but interesting fact. And of course, going into this final match, which was against Congo, Gambia only needed a draw, but they couldn't afford any kind of slip-ups, no defeat available, because they were playing against the side that could leapfrog them. Not on goal difference, not on points, they'd be level on points, but it would go to head, and of course Congo won the first clash between the two sides back in June, and it's really only because of Gambia's win against Mali, Mali's only defeat in the group stages, and that 96th minute which they scored last time out in June against South Sudan, which was giving them that perfect record against South Sudan, and that win against Mali, putting them in a position where they were on 9 points. Congo, they'd been less consistent. They'd lost both times to Mali. Obviously, they beat Gambia, but they'd only beaten South Sudan once, so they were only on 6 points. So 3 points above. A win for Congo, and they'd go through on head-to-head. A draw or a win for Gambia, and of course, Gambia would progress. But it all started to go wrong, didn't it, for Gambia in the first half? On the 30th minute, Congo took the lead through Makuta, and just before half-time, things went from bad to worse as Congo doubled their lead through a penalty. And at this point, I can't lie, I was worried. Congo are a strong team. We knew from last time out that Gambia didn't manage to score against them. In fact, Gambia in the first couple of games in this AFCON qualification, they weren't looking that great going forward, and they were far more reliant on solid defending, with the exception perhaps, of course, of that South Sudan result, which I mentioned earlier, which of course finished 3-2. Gambia had tended to base themselves off of a strong defence, and that's what we saw in AFCON last time out as well. So I was worried at this point, and I was watching it furiously. But you can never write off the Scorpions, and at half-time, their genius manager, as he is now, and perhaps was beforehand already, Tom Saint-Fiet, brought on Yankuba Minter, a promising young forward who I must admit I didn't know much about before doing research for this video, and of course before watching this game. Just 19 years of age, another really promising young talent, a young forward that Gambia have on in their ranks at their disposal. And on the 76th minute, they brought on Mohamed Badmosi. Now, this is a 24-year-old who had played 15 times or so for the international team and had never got a goal or assist in a competitive international. But that is all about to change. Was all about to change, I should say, as not 1 minute later, the substitutes combined and Minter got the goal. 19 years of age. Debut goal, fantastic scenes, pulled it back to 2-1, and in typical Gambian fashion, they weren't done there. They kept fighting hard and applying pressure to Congo, and it was on the 90th minute where Badmosi himself got himself on the score sheet, so had not scored or assisted in an international competitive match, and got 2-in-1, scoring on the 90th minute. The crowd went wild, and that's thrust the Scorpions into back-to-back African Cup of Nations. Truly, truly sensational. As I've already said, they're the lowest ranked team going into this. To suggest that Gambia could win AFCON it's going to be tough. We know how far African football has progressed across the last few years. You do have the strong sides in there, Senegal, Egypt, some of the best sides. Of course, the Ivory Coast, they had already qualified for this tournament as well as their hosts. And this tournament kicks off in January of next year. The draw will be made on October the 12th to find out what group all of the sides, but particular focus on the lowest ranked few, and of course Gambia falling into that category as well. October 12th, the draw will be made. You'll be able to see our reaction if we're available, depending on time zones, etc. We'll be watching it along and live streaming our opinions as it happens, and predictions will come around at that time. Of course, there'll be a whole video on who we think is going to win AFCON 2023. Takes place, of course, in 2024 because of the issues around hosting, etc. But Gambia, they've done it, and the Scorpions, they've made back-to-back. This has been a roller coaster of a group, one of my favourite groups, partly because I'm obviously supporting Gambia in a way, but partly just because of the drama. I mean, the way that Gambia have beat Mali, which was a bit of a crazy result, really. They came back and they almost threw it away to South Sudan when South Sudan scored in the 91st minute. And then the 96th minute, they retook the lead to get the 3 points. That's what gave them this gap that they had over Congo going into the final game. And to then basically almost throw it away. And they didn't score, as you've seen on the thumbnail, until the 77th minute and 56 seconds. So basically, the 78th, 79th minute is when they got it back to 2-1. And on the 90th minute, they scored again. Truly sensational. You cannot write off the Scorpions. What I need now is a Scorpions jersey. I need that Gambia shirt in my locker so that when I do these videos, I can actually rep the nation properly. Fantastic for Gambia. And of course, as is only right, our closing statement would be to talk around us sending our thoughts and prayers to the tragedy and all the victims that have been affected by what's happened in Morocco and the surrounding areas as well. Always tragic, as we've seen in other parts of the globe when it happened to Tonga with the tsunami there. It's horrific when these natural disasters occur and so many people are impacted by it. It really came as a shock to see it happen in Morocco, and I know there's aftershocks and things happening at the moment. So we at DNQ, and I'm sure everyone watching, will want to send our thoughts and prayers to everyone affected. But congratulations to Gambia, absolutely fantastic, going back-to-back at AFCON, and we can't wait to see what they can produce in January when the tournament kicks off. That's all from us, and we'll see you next time.